Hey, what's up, everybody, on this Wednesday? What do you say? Happy to be here, happy to have you here, happy in general, believe it or not. Not to say that I'm not normally happy, but I'm exceptionally happy. Do I have a reason to be? Nah, not really. Save for just being happy to be here and happy to be alive, believe it or not. I'm in second studio, wasn't feeling first studio, so here we are. Hope everybody's week's been going great so far for them. And don't worry, I got plenty of hats. I'm just not wearing one right now. But yeah, 8 o'clock. It's Wednesday. You know I'm gonna be on, and I'll send up a link if anybody decides they want to come on and have anything they'd like to add to the show. It's an interactive experience, and I always welcome anybody and everybody to the show. So don't be shy. And you know what? If you are a little bit shy, A, get out of your comfort zone. B, you don't have to put your camera on. You can just mic up and speak your piece. Hell, I can even distort your voice if you want me to. I can do whatever you want. You name it, I can figure it out and do it. Real quick, let's get this read and I'll get it out the way. Let's see if there's enough room here. There we go. Here we go. Under Title 17 USC Section 107, allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips. The balance in favor of fair use. And of course, I'm gonna give another plug here to not only uh, not the one I was looking for. Sorry. StreamYard got some stuff going on. I don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. I don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. No, not there. Not. It's like you're trying to find that sweet spot, right? But you can't quite get to it. There, fair enough. There, you know, I got one that I actually set up. Maybe I didn't set up on this computer, or maybe I did, and I'm just not smart enough to find it here. I just use this one. You know, we got some NFL talk. We're gonna talk about the games this coming week, and Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So football for 3 days in a row. Wild card weekend. Got some good matchups. Should be interesting. And I don't have you know, I don't have any skin in the game. My squad is not in the playoffs this year, that being the Chiefs. So I don't care. I'm just giving you my, I don't even want to call it a guess, but my prediction every time. I don't encourage gambling either, but what I do encourage is if you read that banner down below and you do what it says in case you're interested, check out grassrootskc.com. Use my code MAX10. Get yourself 10% off anytime, every time, all the time. That's a guarantee of 110%, which is never going to expire. It's never been used. No one's ever complained. And yeah, check out the website, check out the reviews, and check out the product. The other one is if you like caffeine, and who doesn't? Everybody for the most part. Maybe not so much the LDS community, but there's not a problem with that. That's okay. And by LDS, I mean Latter day Saints. If you don't like it, that's all right. Maybe just my camera. There we go. Oh, no. There we go. It's always something. Anyway, But yeah, if you like caffeine, you want a single serving of it, you want to save some money, go to w's.gg or whatever the hell this one says. www.w.gg. Use code Suffoking and save 10%. Once again, this camera shit. They're fixing the camera. Not the camera I'm trying to use. There we go. I am sorry. Very touchy. Or you know what? Maybe it's just time for a new camera. One of the two. Either way, www.w's.gg. Use code SOFAKING. SOFAKING. All one word. Save yourself a little bit of money there too. Save where you can in this economy that may or may not be getting any better depending on how you look at it, whether you're an optimist or if you're a pessimist or if you're just a realist like myself and understand what's going on is just madness, then you're good. We're all talking about the same thing. We'll get to that too. But before we do that, let me get to where I wanted to go. I do enjoy the Yahoo and the Yahoo interface when it comes to sports. And, wherever you get your sports information, sports news from, it's really not going to matter a whole hell of a lot, to be honest with you. It's not like they're going to have a different set of playoff games. I'm just saying. But anyway, now this thing's giving me a hard time. Fix it. Yeah, 1 second here. Not that I'm unbelievable piece of shit. Sorry once again about this whole camera nonsense. Signing me in, when you go live, this is what you can expect. Sometimes, not all the time. I believe if I was at the other station, I have significantly less issue. And it's not because I'm on a bad computer or anything like that. It's just I don't use it very often. There we go. There we go. Let's get to that, and I'll share the screen, and we can get into it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, make sure we got all the games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games, 12 teams. The other 2 teams being the conference champion or the highest seeded team have the week off, which would give us 14 teams and 7 games. But right now, like I said, we got 6 out of the 7 teams from each division playing, which is going to give us 6 games, 12 teams, and they start off things on Saturday. Nice. Watching a little bit of NFL on Saturday. Can't go wrong. So let's get that going here. I'll make my picks here. And then we'll talk about a little bit of NBA. Then we can talk about whatever else. Doesn't matter. And if anybody wants to come on, hit up those comments. Let me know. I'll send you a link. It's no problem. Getting used to writing in 2026. I hope you guys are too. It's not a difficult thing. It's just one of those deals. Make sure Wow. I don't understand why it's being so. Here, we'll run it like this. That way, at least you guys get the most out of the screen. And then I'll kick over here. Let's get to the first game. Rams, Panthers. We're looking over here. You know, I'll be honest with you on this game. If I had to just go by the weakness and the strength of one team versus the other, it's going to be the strength of the Rams offense in the passing game with Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua and company against the defense, against the Panthers defense that isn't a bad defense by any means, but one that might have some trouble when it comes to slowing that guy down right there that you see running. So that's why I have some reservations about this. Panthers, of course, division winners in a very, very up and down week, some may say. NFC South at 8-9 because of a Falcons win against the Saints last week, which, by the way, we ended the season 8-8. So we got, instead of the 12-13 we had for the last couple seasons, where we got almost 11 win average a week. Still better than most. Not bragging, just saying. So 8-8, all right. Last week of the season, it's a tough one to try to predict simply because you don't know what the intentions of the teams are, whether they're going to sit their guys, whether they have anything to play for more than just, you know, just honor, if you will, for pride. To otherwise just do your job. Of course, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, and you don't want to get hurt and then go into the playoffs and be compromised. So of course you're gonna be a little bit reserved in how you deal with certain things. But this game should be interesting. I think the Carolina Panthers have come a long way with Coach Dave Canales, and the Rams are a good team. They're one weak. The weakest point that they have is going to be that defense and letting people score on them. They're able to put up points, but at the same time, if you're not able to stop your opponent from doing the same, then that is an issue, obviously. But the Rams 12-5, the Panthers 8-9. This one, we've got the Rams, an overwhelming favorite to beat the Panthers at home, 10.5 points with a 46.5 point over under. It's going to be a good game. Excuse me. Take a drink. But when it comes down to it, and you look at it, what I like to look at is the teams' points allowed and points scored. I believe in this case, and I'm going to double check because I don't want to open up another window. So I'm going to use my other device, so bear with me. In the NFC, Panthers allowed 380 points. They scored 311, while the Rams, they allowed 346 points while scoring 518. Does that guarantee they will win this game? Of course it does not. You can't guarantee anything. But it does tell you that from a defensive standpoint, they have allowed less points. And from an offensive standpoint, fucking they've scored more points. And this camera's really getting on my nerves. Excuse the language. Fucking cameras. I'll be. Yeah, camera needs help. All right. And of course, I don't catch it until it's too late. So I don't know whether anything I just said was heard or not. But either way, I guess it doesn't really matter, seeing as how I have a reserve camera that by default will either A, put up the picture of me, or it'll just go to the other camera. Either way, I apologize. So, like I was saying, in this game, when we look at those factors and take them into account, we can see that the Rams have a significant advantage if we go on by statistics alone in those two categories only. So, without very much doubt, I am going to go ahead and pick the Rams to beat the Panthers in Carolina. I know it's going to be exciting for Carolina. First time they've been back in the playoffs since 2015, since they went to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton, back in the day. I can't believe it's been 10 years plus, a decade, a little longer. It doesn't get any better as you get older. This game Saturday, it's going to be 3:30. The game's going to be on Fox, Bank of America Stadium. It is one of the wild card games, one of the 6 wild card games. So we've got the Rams, dun, 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 to beat the Panthers. Next game, moving right along. When a plan comes together. What sometimes doesn't matter how badly you want something to work out, it just doesn't. I don't know if I had a chance to mention it before, but congratulations to Mendoza winning the Heisman. Some people think that it could have been, well, it is what it is. I think he's very deserving of it. At the Raiders, if they don't take Mendoza, I think they'd be making a big mistake. I'll say that right now. Raiders got the first pick. Mendoza could be that guy. And expect the Rams, Davante Adams back for the wild card game, which is huge. All right, that Rams offense with Davante Adams, when everything's clicking, as long as the defense can do their job, they'll be just fine. Next game, which is interesting, Packers Bears. Bears obviously division champions of the Norris. Packers, well, they got in the playoffs. They had a tie with the Cowboys. Ended up 9-7-1. Let's click on it, shall we? Let's make sure we got a picture. There, it looks normalish to me. And thank you for those tuning in. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to earn your viewership. It is much appreciated, as always. And whoever you are watching on the Twitch, how you doing? You're always there every week consistently, and shout out to you. I can depend on you. I can set my watch to you. So that's awesome. Give yourself a big, you know what I'm saying? And I thank you, and I thank everybody else. So keep on doing it. Let's keep on growing, and I'll keep on showing. Not in a weird way. Anyway, Packers. The Green Bay Packers, and the Bears. I expect it to be a relatively good game. This one, we're looking Saturday, 7 p.m. This one's on Amazon. It's going to be in Chicago, Soldier Field. As far as the wise guys, they got Green Bay 1 point. So 45.5 perhaps over under. You know, the Bears, they were down 16 nothing yesterday, last week, and they came back, but ultimately ended up losing 19-16, and have been very convincing as far as the way that they've been consistent in the season, and that is translated into them getting that second seed in the NFC, deservingly so. Ben Johnson's done an incredible job his first year as the head coach of the Bears, and he's been able to transform Caleb Williams into a very dangerous, in a good way, quarterback. And then the Packers on the other end, 9-7-1, I would say have probably just as good, if not better, quarterback in Jordan Love, with the running game of Josh Jacobs, along with weapons at his disposal, along with a pretty solid defense. I like the Packers, but I also believe that Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears are ready to take that step and potentially win this game, though they did not last week. And I think that regardless of whether they won or not, it wouldn't have meant that much because they wouldn't have placed any differently than where they did already because Seattle had won that division. And in their respective division, you're looking at the North and the Bears. They had a 3-game lead on them, you could say. So it didn't really matter. The Vikings, the Lions, they cleaned house. They had a very good year. Points allowed and points for. The Bears have allowed 415 points, and they've scored 441. Green Bay has only allowed 360 points with that defense, that stingy defense, and have scored 391. So we have a 40-point difference, roughly, both ways, give or take on the allowance. So the Packers defense would look, at least on paper, to be better because they have allowed less points. Though offensively they have scored less points, and the Bears have scored more points, and they've also allowed more points by 55. So you got to look at that. It's going to be a close game, but I think the one thing that I've seen out of Green Bay and Jordan Love is his resilience and his ability to come back and keep games close. Kind of like what Caleb Williams is starting to be able to do. And I'll be honest with you, I was a big time skeptic of Caleb Williams, and I didn't think that he was going to be able to be successful or see success in the NFL. But I've been, I think that I might have been mistaken, and I freely admit to that. We all make mistakes, but he's been playing very well, and he's adapted very well. You get the correct coach and the correct planning and offense, etc., coordinators, nutritionalists, trainers, everything that it takes, conditioning coaches, and you're going to find that your game can change if you take it that serious. You master your craft, as they say, and it'll pay dividends. And that's what's happening with Caleb Williams as the shot caller, the big boss, the QB of the Bears. So, who am I picking, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. As much as I think that the Bears are going to come out, they're going to be hot, I believe that the Packers are a very dangerous number 7 seed at 9-7-1. They could have easily been 10-6 if they had not lost that game. Whereas, 11-6, the Bears are sitting. They could have been 10-7. I'm sorry, if you take away that tie between them and Dallas. They've got a stingy defense. They had a little bit harder schedule, depending on how you want to look at it. They've got a seasoned coach in Matt LaFleur. They've got an excellent quarterback in Jordan Love. I think that it's going to be a great game. I think that if there's going to be an upset in the wild card first round, this is probably going to be it right here. So you just heard me say it. We're going with the Packers to beat the Bears in Chicago for the wild card game. So far we've got the Rams and we've got the Packers. We're not going with the division winners. We're going with the underdogs, if you will. So see it the way I see it or don't. Doesn't matter. I'm looking right here. Let's see if we can't get to the next game here. Da, 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 da. Next game we got ought to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a Sunday game because those were the two Saturday games. This is going to be a Sunday game. The Bills of Buffalo and the Jaguars of Jacksonville, Duval County to be exact. And let's see where these guys are. I already have a pretty good idea because I already looked at it earlier, but that's all right. All right. Let's see here. This one is going to be CBS. Is that right? Yeah, CBS on Sunday the 11th, noon in Jacksonville, Duval County, Everbank Stadium, Jaguars, Bills, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, the number 3 Jags, number 6 Bills. One team 13-4, the other one 12-5, that being the Bills. The Jaguars winning the AFC South with a 13-4 record. I'm referring to the Jaguars, allowed 336 points with that defense. The Bills, on the other hand, have allowed 365 points with their defense. The Jaguars also have scored 474 points. The Bills have scored 481 points. The wise guys had this as a 1-point game. All right? 1 point. And the over-under, they got it at 52. I think it might just be that close. It might just be that close. Trevor Lawrence has come into his own this season. He's finally showed why he was that first overall pick coming out of Clemson. And as far as the Bills and Josh Allen, Sean McDermott and company, James Cook III, the rest of the gang out there in Buffalo, I think that as much as they want it to be their year, as much as it could be their year, I think it's not going to be their year. And I'll tell you why. Because they haven't been consistent. Yes, they have a great running game. Yes, they have Josh Allen, MVP, potentially for the season last year's standing MVP until we find out who the new MVP is going to be. And, put down in the comments who you think that is. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Jacksonville's got a lot of weapons. They've got weapons that you can't even really put a title to, like Travis Hunter and the difference that he's made. ETN, Lawrence. They've got a great team. They've got a great coach there. And Liam Cohen, first year, winning the division, 13-4 record. They came back. I remember when they beat the Chiefs, came back after the Chiefs had that game won, and losing only 4 games. Hey, that says something. Bills 12-5. The games they lost, they didn't. Some of them were uncharacteristic. Some of them were just unfortunate. Others, they just got beat. So, 1 point going Buffalo's way and a 52-point over under doesn't necessarily mean that I like what they say, nor do I necessarily agree with it. I think that Jacksonville is going to win this game. I think that it's time for Jacksonville to win this game. They're going to come out of nowhere, kind of like they did this season, and prove that they're ready to take that next step. And the Bills, I think that window has been closing for the last several years. And even though the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs this year, I don't think that says or takes away from the fact that there are other teams that are very good and very hungry, very motivated, very eager to win. Not saying that the Bills aren't, but I think that the Bills have been here far too many times and have failed enough times to now go up against a team that is hungry, that has got a young squad, that has got they've got everything. I think they've got an advantage over the older, beat up, hurt, injured, depleted to a point Bills. Jacksonville is who I'm going with, the first division winner and the first top, number 3 seed that I'm going with this week with Jacksonville over the Bills in Duval County. So that's the Rams so far. Oops. The Rams, the Packers, the Jaguars. And now let's go to this game, which is interesting. The Eagles and the Niners, where we have this one is going to be a 3:30 Sunday game on Fox. Philly's a 4.5-point favorite, and 44.5 is the over/under. Number 3 versus number 6. This is another one where I'm going to have to agree with the odds makers and the wise guys and go ahead and go with the Eagles. And I think that it's not a matter of toughness. It's just a matter of not having everything that you need, every tool at your disposal in order to win this game. And I'm referring to San Francisco and them being shorthanded both offensively and defensively and not being ready to take on the Eagles and beat them. I don't see that happening. I just don't see it happening. They weren't able to beat or even come close to looking competitive against the Seahawks, and they needed to going into the playoffs, especially. You needed to play your best football. Now you're going to leave it up to Brock Purdy, and you're going to leave it up to Christian McCaffrey, and then you're going to leave it up to that defense, which is hurting, which is shorthanded big time, going into Lincoln Financial Field against a team that is the defending champion, let me remind you, the Eagles, okay? And I'll tell you right now that what Nick Sirianni has been able to do with that Eagles team has been nothing short of amazing. Another division title for the Eagles, 11-6 is where they ended up. And the 49ers had a great record, 12-5, but they also had a much easier schedule, and things would look a lot different had they have everybody that they needed back healthy going into this game. I remember a few years ago when the Niners and the Eagles played and Brock Purdy was injured in that game and ended up having, I believe it was shoulder surgery. So in this game, if we go by the numbers, bear with me. The 49ers, they've allowed 371 points. Now, the Eagles, they've allowed 325 points. That's nearly 50 points difference. Now, the Eagles have scored 379 points. The 49ers, they've scored 437 points. So it's a game of give or take with home field advantage and a division champion in the Eagles. What do you do? Who do you go with? What do you think? I know what I think. I know who I'm going with. And I tell you why. I remember what happened, and I know that the 49ers remember what happened when they went into Philadelphia last time and got beat up badly, horribly, some would say. So that's who we're going with. That's our pick. Another home team, the Eagles. And I don't think it'll be a 4.5 point game. I'll be honest with you. I see it being not that close of a game. I think the Eagles are a very seasoned team and they know how to win and they know where to win and they understand what's on the line here. And the 49ers, yeah, they've been to a couple Super Bowls and lost both of them to the same team. The Eagles were able to redeem themselves last year by beating the team that they lost to the year before convincingly, that being the Chiefs. So, the game, give or take, you know, just like love. Anyway, we're going with the Eagles. We're going with the Eagles. And of course, as always, everything will be posted in the comments, posts, community section on the YouTube. Feel free to leave your comments as always. And moving right along. So far we have the Rams, we have the Packers, we have the Jaguars, we have the Eagles. We have 2 games left. We have the Sunday night cap with the Chargers going to New England, Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, whatever you want to call it, to face Mike Vrabel and the 14-3 New England Patriots. This one is on NBC, 7 o'clock Sunday evening. The wise guys, the odds makers, they think it's a 3.5 point game going New England's way with a 46-point over-under. I think that it's not going to be that close. I think that New England has this game, and I think it comes down to the factors that mean the most and matter the most. I think it's because New England has not only a great quarterback in Drake May, which is probably the best quarterback I've ever seen that I can recall coming out of North Carolina. I was wrong when I called him the next Mitch Trubisky. I admit it. I'm sorry. All right? It happens. But I take back what I said about him, and I'm very familiar with the Chargers, and I know their weaknesses, and I know their strengths, and I don't believe that they're a bad team, but I don't believe they're good enough to beat New England in Foxborough or Gillette or whatever it's called anymore. I don't know what it's called. Quarterback-wise, of course, Justin Herbert's excellent. Yes, he has many weapons at his disposal, but what he doesn't have is that primal, type of instinct that Drake May seems to possess, like that. I don't want to call him a mensch necessarily yet, but I think that with Vrabel in there and May, that combination has been great. Mike Vrabel has shown that he's been able to work with young quarterbacks and help develop them, obviously. And I think that the same can be said with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, though he didn't develop Justin Herbert, he inherited Justin Herbert. So that's nothing against either coach nor quarterback. They're both great. But I don't always trust Harbaugh's decision making at times. And I don't necessarily not trust Mike Vrabel because though they were both players at different positions, they saw different types of success. Vrabel saw success in championships that translated into, like I said, an opportunity to coach, and he played for my Chiefs. And though he was towards the end of his career, and the Chiefs weren't very good. He made a difference. He showed his leadership skills and ability, and that speaks dividends. The Chargers ended up 11-6, second place in the NFC West, and New England ended up at 14-3, and they ended up the division champs and second place overall in the playoff in the AFC in that conference. So let's see what the numbers say. Dun, 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 dun. Patriots, they have allowed a mere 320 points, whereas the Chargers, they've allowed 340 points. Yes, you heard me right. 320, 340. 20-point difference there. The Chargers have scored 368 points, whereas the Patriots have scored 490 points. So if I'm going by the statistics plus my gut feeling, I'm going to have to say that the Patriots are going to win this game, and they're going to do so decisively. And I think that them being in Gillette/Foxborough is going to make a huge difference in way of the outcome of this game. I think that it'll be an interesting game, at least for a little bit, but ultimately I think that New England will win this game. So New England is who we're going with, which leaves one last game. Two teams. So far we have the Rams, the Packers, the Jags, the Eagles, the Patriots, and last but not least, the Monday night game, 7:15 ABC. This one's going to be at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh. The Steelers, DK Metcalf should be back, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The Texans with that stingy defense and a 12-5 record, a 10-7 record for the Steelers, who come in with that momentous win, that incredible, unbelievable game, and they were able to beat the Ravens, and they were able to advance. Houston's a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 39.5. Is that what I'm seeing? Or is that 30.5? That's old eyes. Looks like 39.5. It is. Houston, 5th seed. Pittsburgh, a 4th seed. Pittsburgh, the division champion, division winner. And let's look at the numbers. Pittsburgh allowed 387 points. The Texans allowed 295 points. So we're talking about a nearly 100-point difference here. The Texans also scored 404 points, whereas the Steelers, they scored 397 points. So we're close there. So this game, in my opinion, is going to come down to defense. You're not going to have that many games to where it comes down to missed plays, missed calls, missed opportunities, missed kicks. Okay. I think that the Texans, DeMeco Ryans, have every chance and every opportunity to win this game. I think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have something to prove in way of moving forward in the playoffs. But if I go by the statistics, regardless of the terrible towels of the home field advantage and what their indoor team versus Pittsburgh outdoors, it's going to be a fun game. I think that it's going to be a very very close game, but I also believe that this game is going to be that other upset game to where as as much as I think CJ Stroud, D'Amico Ryans and company are mentally prepared for what is going to be expected as far as the crowd and the atmosphere in Pittsburgh. It's a very loyal fan base. It's a very good team. Underdogs are very dangerous. They're like a herd predator. They don't necessarily have that flight impulse or option because they are injured, so they have to stand their ground and fight. Flight's not an option. So we'll see. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers is able to muster up a little bit of vintage AR, and we'll see if the Texans are the real deal. But in this game, I believe that the Texans have what it takes to win, and that's who we're going to go with, the Texans. Dun 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 dun. Next, let's talk about NBA, and I'll pull this up here. And 1 second. Un momento, por favor. NBA. If you look at the NBA standings, if you look at the West, it's very congested, if you will, simply because you have so many teams that are so close, but you have so many factors at the same time. In the East, Detroit, they've proven that they're a real team, that they're capable of winning, that they're consistent. Boston, big surprise, second place. Jalen Brown, I think he's averaging over 30 points. The New York is in third place. And those are the top three I know in the East and the West. It's a little bit more congested. New, I mean, OKC is still in first. Then you got why you not letting me push? There you go. Lakers. They've been doing a whole lot better than I expected, but who's really been doing a lot better than I anticipated, and probably a lot better than a lot of people thought, are the Suns. So right now, it's LA can't afford to make mistakes. I don't think that they have that chemistry that's necessary yet, or if they ever will, to go. Not saying that they won't make the playoffs. They may now make the playoffs. It's possible as long as they stay competitive and avoid injury and don't make mistakes and poor decisions when it comes to coaching. But they should be able to make a serious run, at least on paper, with what they have on their roster. But you need to have guys that can do both things, play offense and play defense. And, a guy like Marcus Smart, for example, is able to do that, whereas Luka, LeBron, not so much. They're not a strong defensive team. Yeah, they can score on you and they can have a good night, but that Western Division, it's close. Everything's real tight there. They can't afford any losses, to be honest with you, or very many, because San Antonio and Houston, they're the real deal. And like I said, you've got issues when you come down to it. And OKC is still probably the best team. Denver, Jokic being out for maybe 4 weeks, maybe more, however long it takes for him to be back healthy, you never know. But going into, like I said, you're nearly halfway through the season, a third of the way through, if you want to call it a little bit more. But we'll see what happens. Trade deadline, it's coming up here in February, so we'll see what happens. people get moved around. I know Trey Young talk and other things have been sprinkled here and there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's NBA. Hold on, let me get to my notes here and see if we have any comments. No comments, but we do have people watching. So as always, it means a lot. Thank you very much. Where was it? There was an option. All right. As far as the next thing I want to talk about, I watched Predator Badlands. I was able to purchase that. I'm big on the Predator / Alien franchise. I will be perfectly honest with you. It was a little bit disappointing. It was a little bit disappointing. And I, the reason it was disappointing was because I think that it ends up being Prey was such a good movie that it was a tough one to try to beat. It was so different. And then they came out with the animated version, Predators. So I had high expectations when Badlands was spoken of, and I waited till it came out, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna get Badlands when it's out on streaming service, and I did just that, and I watched it, and it just didn't meet my expectations. Is all I can tell you. Not to say that it's a bad movie. It's not bad. It's worth a watch. I'm sure that it'll be out for free at some point. But if you want to pay what I paid, but I think it's $30 through Amazon, and you're a fan of the franchise like I am, you're going to buy it regardless. So, is it worth watching? Yes. Is it interesting? Yes. Is it got a good story? For the most part, yes. Is it too simplistic in some points and very predictable? Yes. But I don't want to ruin it. I just don't want to be that guy to tell you what I think and then, you believe totally different. So make your own decision if you want to watch it. If you want to know more about it, I'll be more than happy to give you a more thorough review about it and let you know what I think and clip all that about the Predator. It's a new feature that StreamYard has. Clip everything about NFL and NBA. And next section we're going to talk about, and I'm getting a little bit of pushback on it, and that's okay. I want you to consider this as a U.S. citizen, and we're here and we're trying to make America great, make America first. When did we solve all of America's problems to where we can now go ahead and take away the sovereignty of another nation? Because if that happened to us, it wouldn't be okay, but it's okay if we do it to somebody else. Regardless of how you feel about Maduro, or what you think about Maduro, or how you felt about Chavez, etc., Venezuela is still a sovereign country. There are international laws that need to be obeyed, and that includes the United States. Clip this, and it includes everything that the United States stands for being absolutely contradicted because of what is being done. A unilateral decision made by President Trump to go ahead and have an operation to remove, kidnap, seize Maduro and his wife, and that's not the way things happen in international law. That is just not the way it is. Like I said, it's not about how you feel about Maduro, whether he's a good guy, bad guy, horrible dictator, just evil person, whatever. We don't do that. We should not do that because it sets a very dangerous precedent simply because what's to stop another country from doing the same thing? And then we can't be hypocrites and then say that, oh, well, we did it because it was a threat or because we believe that it's in the best interest of everybody, so that's why it was necessary. No, that's just being hypocritical, and it's a double standard and a dangerous precedent. So I've seen it in the past. It's not the first time over the last 50 years. I've seen it happen to the Marcos family and Menda. Uh, uh, shit. Imelda Marcos and her husband Noriega, Gaddafi, Hussein, you name it. There's been more than enough. I can go on, but there's no need to. What I'm saying is we can't be both hypocrite and we're not the world police. It's not our job. It's not our responsibility. It's not our duty. It's not what we stand for. We want to believe in laws and rule of law, then we need to be able to stick by that and actually stand behind what we say. And that's what I believe. If you want to push back, I encourage you to leave a comment, and I appreciate it if you do. Like I said, it's not that I'm standing up for Maduro. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that you just don't have the authority. Nobody gave you permission, nor is Venezuela a threat to anybody more than to its people. If they have that big of an issue with their leaders and their leadership, then they need to do what every other country has done in the past, and that is stand up and make their own change the way they feel necessary without any interference from any other country and let it happen their way. Period. Don't let the U.S. sit here and dictate how it's done and then get involved. When we solve homelessness, when we solve the epidemic we have here with opioids, etc., then we can go ahead and pick on small countries. I don't see us going into China and taking Chinese leaders out. I don't see us going into North Korea and taking North Korean leaders out. I just don't see us going to Russia and taking Putin out. It's just not going to happen. But Venezuela, someplace like that, like we haven't done enough already in Ecuador, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, you name it, Colombia, Peru, you name it, any Central American and South American country. We've had our chances and done a terrible job, and ultimately nothing good has come of it. And this is no different. We've overstepped legal international boundaries, and that's inexcusable, and it's just unacceptable altogether. Last but not least, tools. Yes, tools. I know quite a bit about tools, actually. I've had so many of them, it's not even funny. If you would like me to upload some tool videos, I'll be more than happy to do so. I'm also planning on doing so, as I've got I had a, even though I had a medically complicated Christmas, I had a great Christmas as well, and have some tool reviews we're going to do. I'll show you some tips and tricks, save you some time, save you some headache. I'm going to save you some money. I'll teach you things about tools and about what you should buy, what you shouldn't buy, what you ought to stay away from, and what is a good deal and what is not a good deal, what's worth it, what's not worth it, why something is better than the other thing, and the difference. Platforms, longevity, purpose of use, etc. And if you want to go into some other videos, I'm sure that I can clip some of the various testing, because I'm not trying to be the one to break tools. I'm just the one trying to show you how to properly use tools. Exactly what I mean. Let me put it to you like this. Clip this. It's more like me showing you why you need to use a PH2 screwdriver instead of a PH1 screwdriver, if that's what the application calls for. The proper tool for the proper job is ultimately what is going to preserve the longevity of the tool, whether it's an inexpensive, cheap tool or whether it is a high dollar tool. That is my whole purpose and whole point. So, not that I'm out here I'm not capable of doing much of anything when it comes to that, but I do like to have tools around, and I have a capable young man, my son, who can do what I ask him once he's properly instructed and directed. So, yeah. And right now, the platform that I decided to go with is a combination of TTI, that's Tektronic, and the other one is S SBC, uh, SBD. I'm sorry, Stanley Black and Decker. So basically, DeWalt products, and if you want to go down the DeWalt family, you're talking about plenty of plenty of quality brands. And if you want to go down the TTI, which is your Milwaukee, your Ryobi, your Rigid, and several others, versus your Stanley Black and Decker, which is your DeWalt, which is your Mac tools, which is your Stanley tools, which is your Black and Decker tools, and there's Porter Cable, I believe, and there's several others. So a lot of things we can talk about when it comes to tools, and I'd love to show you how to use them, and I intend to show you how to use them and what tools you need for what purpose and how heavy of a tool, and depending on what you want to do with it, what'll serve you best and save you some money and save you some headaches. So I'm looking forward to that. That's one of the things I want to accomplish in the new year, in addition to talking about sports and current events. So as always, I appreciate everybody's, and I hope everybody knows nothing but the best with this. I hope that everybody has a healthy, happy new year. I hope everybody is going to get everything they deserve. I hope nothing but the best for everybody. I wish God bless you, and I wish you all nothing but the best. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, which can be anytime, we'll see you then. This is Mad Max. This is the Sofa King Great Variety Show in the Russian Tea Room, and we out.